Welcome to the Beard Speaks podcast. All right, guys, what's going on? It's Pat here with the Beard Speaks podcast. That's right. We are back, and what an episode I have for you guys today, man. So, buckle up. All right, guys. So I want to do a shout out. I want to thank you guys for sharing the show, liking the show. I mean, from the bottom of my heart, man. Thank you guys so much. I mean, what an amazing turnout. Always, as always, right? I mean, you guys are digging it. So I want to do a little shout out to everyone here in Chicago, Illinois. You get the top city listening to my show. And honestly, the second city coming in, it's Frankfurt, Germany. Thank you guys in Germany, man. Ashburn, Virginia, what's happening? Austin, Texas, what's going on? Miami, Florida. We got Lebanon, Tennessee, Des Moines, Iowa. We've got, who else we got here? Memphis, Tennessee, Jacksonville, Florida, Columbus, Ohio, Cicero, Illinois, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Anchorage, Alaska. What's up there in Alaska? You know, it's been like 100 degrees out here, so we're loving it. We want some Alaska weather, man. Well, I don't want to jinx it. Crystal Lake, Illinois, Las Vegas, Nevada, Elk Grove Village, Illinois. What's happening in Elk Grove? Los Angeles, California. We've got Evanston, Illinois, Naperville, Illinois, Dallas, Texas, Cleveland, Missouri. What's going on? Missouri, Orlando, Florida, Union City, New Jersey, Gatlin, Tennessee, San Antonio, Texas. We've got Seoul, Korea. Man, what's going on, Korea? Palos Park, Illinois. We've got Prague checking in. What's up, guys, up in there in Prague, listening to the Beard Speaks podcast? What's up? Virginia Beach, Virginia. What's happening? San Bernardino, California. The list just keeps going. Guys, when I say we're hitting every continent, wow, it's awesome. I can't even read off all the cities, but I do enjoy just giving you guys a shout out when I can. So, all right, where can you listen to the Beard Speaks podcast? Well, I'm glad you asked. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, Podcast Index, Overcast, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, Castro, Castbox, Podchaser, Pocket Cast, Listen Notes, Player FM, and Good Pods. So if you guys are checking us out on the website, www.thebeardspeakspodcast.com, and want to listen to us on one of those platforms, you can check us out there. Or if you're checking us out on YouTube, man, we're also on YouTube. So just check for the Beard Speaks podcast. We'll pop up there on your YouTube. Follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Facebook. We are on all the social media platforms. So check us out, interact with us there. Or if you have an idea, you have a story, you want to be on the show, and you've got something you got to get off your chest, and you're good. Today's show is going to be killer, man. So if you got a story, email thebeardspeakspodcast@gmail.com. We will respond. We will check you guys out. So without further ado, I have an amazing guest today. Lisa Goodpaster. She's an author of the book Alienated and the founder of the Stephood Project. Man, I'm going to tell you guys, buckle up. It's a long show, but you have to listen to Lisa talk about her experience as a child being alienated. I mean, it gets close to home, but man, as a parent that's being alienated, and if you're out there and you're an alienated father or mother and want to understand your child, because it's impossible. It's hard to get into the head of kids, man, right? I mean, their brains are not fully developed. They're still trying to understand what's going on. They're thrown into this conflict. And as a parent, you're dumbfounded that this is even happening, right? You don't know where to turn. You know, there's help out there. So definitely check the show notes. I'm going to put links to, reach out to Lisa if you need help. Please. I mean, just understand you're never alone. Parental alienation is child abuse, and these kids are going through something tough that we cannot grasp. You know, we cannot, as a parent, it breaks my heart, man. And that's why, I've been doing a lot of shows about this. I've been really speaking out and using my platform, not only because I've been targeted, but also because a lot of friends that I've made along these past 6 years of going through something like this, it's hurtful and it sucks, frankly. But you got to understand that you're not alone. Your story matters, right? So if you have, like I said, if you have a story, you want to get something out, you want to get that story out there and you want to get something off your chest, email thebeardspeakspodcast@gmail.com. Let us know. If you need help, you don't know where to turn, you're caught up in the corrupt family court system that's just dragging you through all of this nonsense, because all they really do is continue, right? You never get your hearing. You always get status dates, and they just keep continuing so they could just keep billing and keep the parents fighting. And it's ridiculous, because children deserve both parents, always. Sometimes, no matter how messed up the other parent is, they deserve both parents. It's the kid's life, and they should not be interrupted, by parental alienation. It's tough. So, again, without further ado, man, it's been a pleasure. And buckle up. This one's good. Here we go. All right, Lisa, thank you so much for being on the show. How are you doing today?
Great. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Awesome. After our conversation, you just opened my eyes to so much, and I really wanted to say thank you for that. And I know there's so much more. Like I said earlier, before we started recording, there's so much noise on the internet about parental alienation and everything that's going on. And for parents like myself who, are the target parent and being alienated from my child, it's so hard to start looking for answers because we don't even know what it is. So before we even get into that, let's kind of let the audience know your story as much as you want to tell it. What got you involved in this and what makes you, the subject matter expert at this.
I was alienated from my mom for 40 years, and it took like most of my life to try to figure out what the hell happened to me. And it was like everyone else's, a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, and a lot of lessons.
Yeah.
And, my story is out there for everyone. I want to keep this mostly how I can help your audience, but I will tell you, there was a time when I didn't feel connected with my mom. I thought I had a bad mom. I thought that, in fact, I raised my son completely different by how I felt growing up.
Okay.
There were years where we didn't talk, important years. And now where I'm at today, I live a mile away from her. We are so connected now. I can lay in her lap, and feel peace where I couldn't even hug her before.
Yeah.
And that has a lot to do with the mind and body. That has to do with the body. So I bring years of experience and education. And I have a book out there called Alienated When Parents Won't Parent. And I turned something very negative into something positive, and I had no idea what I was getting into.
Right. Exactly.
So I do add a little bit of, I do laugh, and I do have I'm very lucky in the sense that I joke around and I say, look, maybe because I'm Latina, you can't really alienate Latina because there's too many of us.
Right.
Everything that happened wasn't always bad. And I just want to remind parents that what you hear out there or read out there usually isn't the whole truth.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things I take it just the way I did with like when I look at it like this, when I was going through my cancer treatment, I remember my oncologist saying, don't believe everything you read on the internet, right? Stop looking things up, right? There's so much noise out there. And it's the same with this.
Yeah. And to parents that are listening, it's nobody's fault. Like, it's not, parents are given the information that they're given. You're doing your job. You're just not able to do it. You're doing it in just a completely asinine, ridiculous, suffering type of way. And if you're listening, just know what I'm going to share tonight on this podcast is, I hope, really helps you see your kids from a different lens.
Yeah, and that's what's most important, because when you're going, as a parent, when you're going through this, like I said in the beginning, I didn't know what I didn't know what it was. I saw it coming, but didn't know how to, I couldn't use my words. I didn't know what it was like. And then you're in shock that someone who just like turned on a dime and starts doing this to your own flesh and blood. And you can't, I think, number one, you're in awe, right? Mm-hmm. You're in shock. And you just can't, like I said, you cannot find the words to understand, like, what is happening, because you would never, ever think that another parent would do this to a child. So we're right away, our minds are mush, right? We're looking for answers every which way. And then you've got, the flying monkeys out there, right? They're all, they're everywhere. And your friends are not understanding. And, and then people just get tired of hearing you because, it's your kid. Right. And
you're going through a divorce, which is traumatic already.
Right. Let's not add that layer of shit on top of it. Yes.
So it's like, no matter, you're just like duck and cover.
Yeah.
It is a very terrible, horrible experience for parents. And same thing. Growing up, I didn't have the words. I knew something was off. I couldn't explain it from my little self growing up. And then after finding out, you go through this unraveling and still don't have the words. And you end up talking in circles.
Right.
It is probably one of the hardest things I think any parent can go through. And there's so many, and I just want to give them some hope.
Yeah. So let's start with this. And I don't even know. Sometimes people ask me this, and I don't even really understand how to give a real answer. But if there's someone out there and it's happened, they don't understand, like, what is parental alienation, and the best ability that you have to even explain it.
It's a relationship issue with the parent. Or, when you cut it down, for the kid, for your kids, what it feels like I can't handle all of this emotional bullshit. Mm-hmm. What is, I love my mom, I love my dad, but I don't like the way they're acting. Yeah. I'm going to stick with this parent. And there's some information that I can share to help explain it. But in a nutshell, parental alienation is when parents are going through a divorce or some sort of conflict, and one of the parents is putting their emotional stuff onto the kid.
Okay. I think that's the best way to explain it.
And you can't escape.
Yeah.
And you're too young to know any different. And then it gets all... it gets all muddy and noisy, and the labels and the diagnosis don't help.
No, well, we'll get to these, the court stuff. That's ridiculous. But underneath all of that, why do you think that the children always gravitate to the one parent that's doing the alienating? That's always been the question, right?
Because it's because at some level we feel an emotional safety.
Okay.
even though we don't know what emotional safety is, it's like it's like some people say, well, it's the weaker parent. There's we don't even pick it actually. Yeah. And this is the truth. This is biology. We don't reject the parent. We don't sit there and go, ooh, I'm going to pick this parent over that parent.
Okay.
It's actually just like the mind, it develops and is new and it's absorbing information. So does the body. And what happens is, as we're growing up development wise, right? What happens is everyone thinks that we're actively picking one parent over the other. No, it's not conscious. At 7, I was not rejecting my mom. I was having like moments of like for example, my mom took me to an roller rink for my birthday. I was 11, and she said, "I'm going to buy you a roller skating outfit." And I was excited on the outside, but on the inside, I was like, holy moly, I got to pick the first thing. I'm going to just pick the first thing. I don't want to be a bother. I don't want her to change her mind. I was feeling that. She didn't know that. She was like, you sure you want that orange one? You can pick it. I was like, no, I want this one. It was urgency. Okay. So by 11, those were signs. That is called adapting. And when I mean adapting, I don't mean like in a good way. That's what we do. It's automatic. By 13, I was rejecting her. Why? Yeah. Because the emotional environment never changed. So the way that they frame it in the courts, I get it. I get why it works. But the way that I lived it, the way that I experienced it and wrote about it in my book and is validated by several psychologists, all kids adapt differently. Yeah. So when it looks like rejection, it's a reaction.
It's a reaction.
It's a reaction. And then because like social media, like the environment, does it get less emotional or does it get worse? Right. It gets worse. Right. So what happens? So that is biology. They start at the child's behavior. Oh, she's rejecting. Right. He's rejecting. The parent, it's got to be alienation. Maybe, but the way your kid's adapting to it, it's different. That's why some kids will align with what the courts say. And I'm like, no, I felt like that on the outside. My behavior was like that, but that's not what's going on the inside. So it's reaction, not rejection.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's hard for us to see that because on the outside,
because you've been taught to look at the behavior.
Right.
And it's loud. I get it.
Oh yeah.
It's bad. It's like, oh my God, I'm almost like, oh my God, I'm kind of embarrassed to represent kids that have been alienated. Holy moly. At the same time, I'm like, but parents, you don't understand. So here's how I can help. Anyone that's listening, I'm going to ask you a question and just think about it. Okay. What was it like to be your child? What was it like for them to grow up in your home? Not when the divorce happened, not when family court, way before. Because when I say adapting, that's what we do. That's human. That is our biology.
Right.
We're adapting way before we get to family court. By the time the behavior has shown up, the kids have seen too much. So that's why so much of the counseling, that's why so much of the adults trying to dissect, trying to figure the kids out. The kids don't have the words. They can't sit there and go, I have lost my attachment to both my parents, or they don't. We react to our environment. We actually respond to it. It's the information that should have been told to parents a long time ago. Just, I guess they're still studying it.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
Right. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's again,
does that make sense?
It makes sense. Yeah.
I know I'm talking about stuff that I haven't been able to bring across social media yet.
Right.
That's changing this week. It's heartbreaking because parents are literally hurting themselves, killing themselves over information that they're missing a whole other. They're missing our biology,
right.
Our beginning.
Right. Well, there's nobody out there that is pointing that out, to us or trying to, even understand it. Like you said, on the outside, it's screaming rejection, right? They don't want to be with you. Then everyone just
right.
says, well, you must have done something wrong, or you're this, XYZ. They just put a label on you. And then, you just lose all this time with your kids, and no one's giving you the answer because everyone's looking at everything on the outside.
Yeah, because they're starting that behavior. They're starting at your kid's rejection and the behavior when by the time you're in court, think about like when we're adapting in real time all day long.
Right.
Sometimes the good stuff. And when it's so adaptation is how kids grow up in their emotional environment, how they adjust, how they respond. And this is what I say in my book all the time. Nobody knows what a child is feeling internally.
Right.
So we're like, it's like a brand new computer. It's like building all this data, all this information. And then when we keep receiving the same messages or the same things that make us uncomfortable, it's a reaction. It's just like when you think about anxiety. Well, we all have it.
Right.
It's a biological, that's what the body does. It sends chemicals. It's automatic.
Yeah.
Same thing when we're growing up and we're 5 years old, 7 years old. And, you think about, you go to school, you watch cartoons, you play outside, you play video games, you talk to mom, you talk to grandma, you talk to dad, you've got dogs, you've got TV, all of that stimulation, all of those moments, it's just your nervous system is being built.
Mm-hmm.
So the rejection is reaction, and the kids are not sitting there consciously thinking. They turn the kids into manipulated little, just it's really bad. And I get why when you just look at the behavior.
Right.
But if you think about, how was it growing up? What did the kids, did they hear mom and dad fight, but then they only saw dad yell and then they didn't hear mom? What are they? We don't know what they're absorbing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they don't know. And it could just be it's really difficult for parents to understand, because no one has told them, oh yeah, forgot. We don't start with we start with your kid's behavior. We ignore the history. We ignore, the courts have to be adversarial.
Yeah.
So and that's what's really tough is parents are the only ones that are capable of helping your kids, but they're relying on the internet, supposed experts.
Mm-hmm.
It's
bad.
Really wrong.
Yeah. They put these, like I said, the courts bring in these experts that really don't know what they're doing, and they make these assumptions about your kids that they've met and talked to for 5 minutes, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
So right off the bat, it's their decisions are being made that can affect a lifetime, just by, meeting the kid for a couple of minutes, talking to him for a few minutes, and then it's, again, they just make their assumptions and they just move on with that. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, the kids are. What happens? So, at 7, I'm adapting. I don't know. I know when things are uncomfortable. I can relate to, when the kids get when their behavior shows up.
Mm-hmm.
So at 13, I was just angry and my behavior was loud. But at 13, I was rejecting. So that time and space, I spent those 5 years where it was just nothing but emotional adult atmosphere. I was holding not only my uncomfortable thoughts and sensations and trying to interpret the world as a kid, on top of having to hold all that emotional atmosphere from the adults.
Yeah.
I'm growing up in that.
Right.
And then you have, supposed experts or people out in TikTok land pretending to be experts, but they didn't live it. They maybe lived it as a parent.
Right.
And this is what it gets dangerous, because what happens is it doesn't match my experience. I didn't lose my my sense of self.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't split. Did I suffer? Oh, heck yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what they are saying doesn't match. So I'm thinking, hey, you haven't talked to your adult kid in 5 years, 10 years. Well, maybe they adapted the way I did and they're just pissed. It's devastating, because all the parents do is like, you're not critically thinking.
Right.
You don't even know what we're holding.
Yeah.
You don't even know what we're having to hold, what we're having to carry, and you're thinking that we don't critically think? All we're doing is critically thinking. You just don't know that parent that thinks that they can, spread all this terrible misinformation, fear.
Right.
It's backwards.
Yeah.
So it's really, and it's hard to say this because I'm a parent, but I come at this as the voice of the child, even though my son's 33 and,
right.
by the grace of God, I was able to give him what I didn't. But
Right.
man, I was a young mom. It was a young mom. And
Right.
my son laughs at me. He says, Mom, you're still a young mom. I can't know. But, it's just, I don't know. I think it's because also I was a Gen Xer. So
Yeah.
we didn't know we were going through trauma, or
Right.
I couldn't tell you like, oh no, I'm being traumatized. No,
Right.
you just freaking move through it and like, I'll deal with it later.
Right.
Especially if you don't have a safe access to your parents. And at some point it just overnight, you're just like total survival mode. So that the adapting comes before survival mode. So there's that's what's so frustrating, is there's time to course correct. But once the kids age out, it's devastating.
Yeah.
And kids stay away because they're uncomfortable, because you don't get a break from it. And parents want to I can't wait for my kid to wake up and realize what had happened. I'm like, that's selfish.
Okay. Yeah.
It's selfish because you're thinking from your fear. Right. What if you're like, that's why I got people like, why did you get married and get pregnant? I go, I got pregnant, then I got married.
Right.
Why? Because I wanted to get away.
Yeah.
I didn't want to dissect my childhood because I never thought it would change.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, the emotional environment,
Right.
environment has to change.
Right.
Like the way that parents are going at this, the kids won't come back to something that is very reminiscent of what they couldn't stand and they didn't have the words, what hurt them, what kept them in the middle. Like they talk about loyalty conflicts, all these labels. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think? So like in a situation where one parent is, clearly, gatekeeping and alienating the child, manipulating them and whatnot to just, cut off the other parent, for the target parent in that situation, of course, like you said, as a parent, you don't have the words, you don't understand what's going on. You can't figure, there's no straight answers out there because there is so much more than just a couple cut and dry. Yeah. The parent is doing XYZ, you know what I mean? Because there's so much more going on inside the kid's head that neither parent really understands, right? And like you said, they're adapting, they're moving along. But, you know, as a parent that is being targeted, what's your best advice for that parent to, you know, like, how do they handle that?
So,
I know it's a tough question. That's a tough question. I know.
It depends on like the child's age and like what I would want to know what was really going on at home before you guys got to family court.
Right.
What was that child's environment like?
Right.
Not because the parents did something wrong.
Right.
It's only to see like where the kid maybe where they may be hurting, because if you can understand where they're hurting, if you can understand it not from like a label, but from like the actual like hurts, right? So first thing I would do is I would recommend that that the parents obviously maintain a very healthy like adult.
Yeah.
Don't try to be their friend. Don't try to sit there and try to tell the kid what, you know, that's not true. What your dad, you know, don't even bring up. I know that's hard when my kid doesn't want to get in the car. I know, I get it. But what's happening is their nervous system, their little mind and body is growing, and it's also under duress.
Yeah.
And what happens is what goes on in the mind also goes in the body. And a lot of times this is why kids will kind of come and they will go back. They will like, okay, I'm going to restore the relationship. And then like, nope, you don't see him for another couple of years.
Wow.
Because it's so uncomfortable. So what the parent what you want to do is you're going to want to be a calm, steady, and you're going to want to lead with love. And I know some parents have some like really like horrible like stories. I don't like it when the kids get violence. I don't agree with that. I don't like that. And that's something different. But I really want parents to try to understand what their kid was living through when they were married, because you don't start kids off at like, okay, they're behaving bad. Let's fix this. Why were they behaving bad? Right. What happened? And everyone just focuses on the ex. I get that, but they've been living and adapting and developing all this time. So if you have a 10-year-old or a 15-year-old, and you've been married 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is, think about how much have they absorbed. Was there fighting at home? Was mom stressed? The whole environment, the whole enchilada. Mm-hmm. What was it like for them? Don't put your ex in it just remove your ex, because no matter what, that you're not going to get rid of that. That's the other parent's child. And I know they're abusive and they put they're narcissistic. I get it. But do you want a connection, or do you want to continue the disconnection? Because that is the hardest thing is the parent has to sacrifice.
Yeah.
You have to sacrifice. And what happens is the parents get sold on, and maybe it's true. Maybe it probably is. But you got to protect your kids from that. Kids should not have to deal with the particulars and the stuff with the divorce. They should not have any. That should be between mom and dad. Don't bring me into that. And so you really want to be able to provide a safe space, a safe relationship where you're not trying to change them. You're not trying to make them think differently. You're trying to love them You're going to have to love them through it. And once they start, when a child feels safe, they'll share. Yeah. It just takes time, and every kid is different. But I would have to like know a little bit more about
right, the background.
Everyone's situation is different.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's tough. I know, because I mean, people all ask me, you know, I've gotten to the point where, like, you know, I've been going through this for 6 years, and I think, I don't know if since the last time we spoke, because I had lost, you know, visitation with my daughter back in September 2025, so I haven't seen her since, right? And you know, I kind of trying to turn pain into purpose. You know, I try to help other parents, try to talk to them, and you know, talk some parents off the ledge, because this gets really scary. And I know, you know, I've been there, done that, right? And it is hard. You're right, to try to really. You can't get into the mind of the child. Every situation is different. You don't know what happened, you know, throughout the whole marriage, or when the, you know, time that they were together with the, you know, when the kids were growing up in that environment. But I'm guessing, obviously, it's a lot of trauma, right? Whatever the trauma was, if there was trauma before then, there's always going to be something. A grandparent dies, right? Somebody gets sick in the family. You know, kids grow up around that, and there's always some type of, you know, you can't get away from some of that family, you know, trauma happens, right? And kids grow up and they're in that environment. But do you think that, I mean, it's got to be obvious. I mean, it happens all the time. There are people that get divorced and the kids are, you know, they get 50-50 or however it is, you know, and they get to see both parents, and there's no alienating going on or anything like that. I guess my question is, at what point does that shift happen? I mean, so let's just say it like this, and I know this is a tough question, but if, you know, the kid grows up, you know, in a family, there's some trauma, like grandma dies, or, you know, an uncle passes away or something like that, and mom and dad get divorced, but you know, they're not fighting or arguing over the child and over custody, and everything just goes about smoothly. The kids are still going to grow up in that environment. They're still going to have some trauma, right? There's always going to be anxiety or something like that, right? That's understandable. But at what point does that shift when one of the parents decides to alienate? I mean, that's obviously adding more trigger and trauma to that kid, right? As they're growing up, you know, the kids are going to grow up in that. I mean, regardless, life happens, right? I mean,
right.
It doesn't. Yeah. So it's life, and you know, that's why some kids, you know, they adjust that way.
What you said, but it's not always trauma. Losing a grandparent, yes, that's a heartbreak. Mm-hmm. That's a hit, but it's not trauma in the sense where we'll be at the grocery store and we see a grandparent. We may be sad the first couple of years. We'll always have like that, the heart, but it's not like a trauma in the sense where it, like divorce. Okay, that's part of the ACE score. That's a hit.
Right.
Okay, that's a hit. That my son. Okay, his parents. Oh my God, his parents. I married my high school sweetheart. Mm-hmm. 19 years old. Of course we were going to get divorced. Right. I knew that, but I didn't think about the consequences. But we both were kids from divorce. So we both knew what not to do based on the fact that it sucks when parents don't know how to navigate. My son was raised with four parents, right? Mom, dad, and then stepdad, stepmom.
Right.
And then both of his parents got divorced, and he doesn't talk to any of his step-parents. I joke with him, like, son, you have like, he was born with 8 grandparents. So here's the positives about, okay, divorce sucks, but it's how the parents parent around it.
Right.
How do you, right? It's all about the parenting and the environment. If the environment is filled with immaturity, drama, mom versus stepmom versus bio mom, stepdad, all of that, what's all over social media, that is a living hell. That is all about the the parents.
Yeah.
It's not about the kids. So, so that is what is traumatic. It's the parents and their parenting. So then when so what you were asking me is it's about how you parent and how that environment is when something doesn't change, when it's chronic, when every day, like, okay, say you have a parent that's alcoholic,
right?
You're growing up, there's mom or dad drinking again and they act all weird. And so that environment then is uncomfortable every time you see that parent drunk right. So that becomes a insecure attachment. You don't have a safe attachment to a parent. When a parent puts too much emotional stuff onto a kid, they call it parentification. That is a insecure attachment. Parents think they're protecting their kid when they're fighting in front of their kid and fighting against the co-parent. You see this on TikTok all the time. Yeah. And the mom or the dad is like, that's my baby. And the kid is sitting there sucking their thumb and watching all of this. That is a insecure attachment. That is raising your kid. You're going to be raising that kid in survival mode. Right. So it's not so much like what's going on with the kids. It's what's going on with the parents. And when you have a parent that is like really high conflict, like a lot of you do, you don't really have to prove how bad they are. They end up showing it. Yeah. I mean, you answered the question. And I mean, and I'll be the case study. What the heck? I mean, so how we're talking, because that's what happened to me. Right. And I mean, my daughter was 11 years old when all of this that I didn't know what it was, parental alienation, was happening. Right. Mm-hmm. And it was happening, like you said, right in front of my kid. And that's why my jaw dropped. And that's why I didn't have the words to explain, like, what is going on here? Why would she be doing this right in front of the kid? And you don't know what the kid is thinking because they're watching it too for the first time. Right. Yep. So that is, and that's the thing, because, we have just a beautifully happy kid growing up, and things are fine. There was a split up and everything like that. But everything for 2 years after the split up was, quote unquote fine, because we got to see each other whenever. We did everything together and that type of thing. There was no restriction because there was no court involved. There was no, there was nothing going on. Yeah, there was a death in the family here, and there was some, the normal, growing up trauma that happens, in every family. But again, and you hit the nail on the head. Enter the stepmom, right? Mm-hmm. So the minute I get engaged and move on with my life, that's when the alienation started. That's where everything started, and it was always right in front of my daughter, and it was always in front of her. So, and I'm just standing there going, how old was your daughter when this was happening? 11. 11. Yep. So now I'm thinking, wow, exactly. Right. So you're as the parent that's watching this going, why is this kid should not be involved. No, should not know anything that's going on. And that carried on. Now, once you go to court and then you get the guardian ad litem and all these people start getting involved. It's more emotional. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then my daughter knows everything that's going on in court. Why? I don't know. I'm not telling her anything. But all of a sudden she knows. Here's mom on the phone. Here's mom talking to friends. Exactly. Mm-hmm. So they know. Or mom tells her stuff. Mm-hmm. Yep. So all of that, and that's where all the rejection started. I mean, the rejection hit right away. And I finally was able to get, after a day here and a day there, then they agreed, okay, it's fine. You can have, a sleepover, but you're unsafe. Of course, there's never any. Yeah. Just puts more. How uncomfortable. Yeah. So daughter hears that, oh, dad's unsafe. Safe. Oh, I'm going to go with it. Yeah. Yep. So that's and that's the thing, and I hear, and the funny thing is that,
I hear this a lot from a lot of parents I talk to, and I tell people all the time, this is not a father thing and not a mother thing. This happens to anyone, right? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. So I've talked to a lot of moms out there, and I've talked to a lot of dads, that it's almost like the other parent, they're all playing out of the same playbook.
Yep. Yep. It's always jealousy, control.
Yes.
Usually it's like apparently some of them are living out their childhood wounds.
Yeah.
It's
mind-boggling. The more I talk to them and the more they tell me their story, I'm like, yeah. And it's like, you could just check off. I should have like a checklist. I'm like, oh, did they do this? Yes. Did they do that? Yes. So I guess that's, and I mean, but you answered my question. That's exactly what it is. It's the parenting, because I've seen this, I've seen, friends get divorced. I mean, we're just in that, that's where we are in life nowadays. I've seen people get divorced, people, even my brother, but the child was never ever involved and was never alienated from the other parent, and they enjoy both parents healthy and lovingly, right?
I mean, we still have to I have to tell hey, parents, look, I know you fight for 50-50, 80-20, whatever it is, but growing up, I never said, hey, what percentage do you have what percentage did your parents have you? I was 50-50. We don't have, it's like, we have to share, we have to split our time forever.
Right.
Forever, traveling to different Christmases, and it's stressful, and it's a lot. What's put on the kids is a lot.
Yeah.
And it really is, when you look at not just their growing up years, I mean, everything. I mean, it took a long time. It took a lot to get where I'm at. And I'm so glad I did, because I didn't grow up feeling secure with either parent. How could I?
Right.
And this is what they say, that you have the safe parent and then the not safe parent. Okay. But to the kid, if they have to perform for one parent, if you are the safer parent, it's really difficult to explain to parents, because the kids don't know, and especially teenagers. Yeah, we want the fun parent. We don't know what that's going to cost us.
Right.
It's and the other parent is going back. I would have ran into my mom's, Dad, I love you. I will see you on the flip side.
Yeah.
It was and honestly, out of an act of love, because look what was going on in my environment. Okay, my dad was always working, but he was. So I was alone with my stepmom, who didn't like me, who I know didn't like me, but I saw my dad tolerate it. So it's really hard to understand your kid is developing.
Yeah.
Your daughter is 11. So right off the bat, she's been adapting.
Right.
She's been adapting, and how she's been adapting, we don't know yet.
Right.
But it's interesting that, because this is her mom, right? So this is why this is heartbreaking, because even if mom was and this is what hard is. It's even hard for parents, because you're dealing with it in real time. You didn't have a pre-game plan to go, okay, if ex-wife does this is what I'm going to do.
Right.
You're just sitting there watching it all unfold and go, holy shit, what the hell? What was wrong with her? Why is she doing this?
Right.
So you're adapting with it too, but you're an adult.
Right.
Kids don't have, so it's really, really difficult for kids. Don't have the experience. They don't have even though they may sound like adults, they may sound like your ex, they're repeating stuff that that's been in their environment.
Of course. And what makes it worse in some situations, and mine for sure, is that not only is she in the environment with her mother, but she's also living, her mother and and my daughter are living with her sister, right? Her aunt, my daughter's aunt, who are now she's got two mouthpieces going, right?
So she's not like a healthy aunt. Oh
no, it's horrible.
She's supportive. She's a supportive. She's a
the flying monkey. Flying monkey. Yep. So it's even worse, right? That
just kind of it does one or two things. Sometimes the kid, like on the outside, I would be sitting there like, God, Dad, why are you such a victim?
Yeah.
On the inside, I'd feel that, but on the outside, it was different. Mm-hmm. I was holding all these feelings and thoughts, and so we don't know, what because 11. How old is your daughter now? She's like
17. She's going to be 18 this October.
17. Okay, yeah. So. Okay.
Yeah. So now,
this is my lane here. Okay. 17.
So now we're at 17, and it comes into the complete total rejection, right? Because I'll tell the story quick, but I basically I think I explained it to you, but just for the audience to know how I got set up, basically. There was an outburst at a concert she was performing, and her mom was involved and everything. So they're screaming and yelling at me. I think I remember I told you this story, out in the middle of the street and everything like that, and claiming I was unsafe and dangerous, all of it, just out of the blue, right?
Oh God.
Yep. Yes. So basically, it turned into a whole thing. I had to call the police. I had to make a police report and everything like that. So I go to court, and the judge doesn't care about police reports. I don't care about police reports. I have 10 witnesses with me. I don't care about that. So it's like, we have to get a new child rep, a new guardian. I said, no, absolutely not, because my daughter will be, in a year, 18 years old. Yeah. It's going to take this guy, 8 months? To do an investigation, right? We all know how that works. 8 months to investigate, to come back and tell me the same thing the other guy told me, right?
Yeah, no, you did the right thing.
Yep. But what the judge said was, So mom's attorney stand up and says, he's going to show up with his court order, because I have a parenting plan, and the police to my client's home. And I said, yeah, I will, because I'm going to see my daughter. And the judge says, I advise you against that. You can't see her until we put someone into place. I said, I'm not paying, another $25,000-$30,000. I said, where is it in the best interest of any child to bankrupt both parents? Right. and the judge literally looked at me and said, I'm not paying this. It's not my money. It was dumbfounding. Dumbfounding. God. So, and in front of 10 witnesses that I had in the courtroom with me that day. So, again, this is kind of how it unfolded. So they went ahead and they picked somebody. I'm like, I refuse. It's not going to happen. And so the next week, it was my daughter's 17th birthday. I text her, hey, sweetheart, love you. I'm going to pick you up. It was my visitation day. It was a Thursday. We'll go get some pizza. She texts me back, no, thank you. Then, so I don't pick her up. Then Saturday comes. It's our weekend. Sweetheart, I'm going to pick you up at 10 o'clock. Sent a text. No, thank you. Monday morning, a stamped order from the judge. Oh, since Mr. Catalano refuses to see his kid and pick her up, he now has no visitation. So, yeah. So they completely killed my visitation, and they did this right before Thanksgiving. All right, so now I can't get a court date. I can't get into court to do anything. So it's holiday hijacking is normally what they do, right? They put something in right before the holidays. So January comes around. We had a court date set. It was freezing cold here in Chicago, so everything was canceled. I get another date in March, and I show up in the court. There's a new judge, because the judge signed that walking out the door. She retired. And the new judge says, well, nobody's here, just you. I said, yeah, I'm here. Ugh. And he's like, have you been coming to court? I said, yeah, for like every 4 months for the last 6 years.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, he's like, you're paying child support? I'm like, yes, sir. Child support, health care, on and on. And he's like, okay, well, case closed. So case is closed, and game over. So now there's absolutely nothing I can do, because by the time I even try to start things up again or get things rolling, she'll be 18 years old anyway. She ages out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
it's too much of pressure. Too much. Yeah.
So I've got so basically I got bamboozled, right? They pretty much that's how they got me. I mean, there's a lot more to what happened with everything, but in a nutshell, that's how it went down. So now I have total rejection, right? I send a text message every couple of weeks, "Hey, sweetheart, love you." Just send a picture, like that pops up on your phone, like a memory or something like that. And
she's actively rejecting you now.
Yeah, I have no responses, no anything. The only time I do see her, like I said, she does perform, for a music school, School of Rock, right? And so they're public shows, so I show up and I watch her perform, and they completely ignore me, and I leave.
How was your relationship when she was growing up? Like, how was your bond? I'm imagining
amazing. Good. I mean, to the point where her and I did everything together, right? I mean,
Perfect.
We went to Comic-Cons, motorcycles, music, you name it. I mean, to the point where people would say, "Who's the mother?" Because she never went anywhere with us, right? I hate to say that.
This is okay.
But that's what it was.
That's good.
Yeah.
That stays in the nervous system. That is part of her foundation. Part of how I was explaining, just like the mind has a beginning, so does the body.
Right.
So it's just, she's not accessing that right now because for whatever reason, sometimes it's just, like I said, there's just a switch and she's doing it to survive the emotional environment that she's under.
Yeah.
And it sucks because, and this is the hard part, is there are times even in the now I'll go, holy shit, I was fucking brainwashed. Like, oh my God.
Right.
Like the way I see my mom now, and it just keeps getting better and better. And it's just part of that process. And so this is why I get so frustrated when I hear that such negative shit about the kids, but I understand too. It's like, because the behavior is like, that's what you see.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my God. And I mean, nobody wants to react negatively. It's not fun. And I get it, but gosh.
I mean, no kid rejects a parent without some type of outside intervention. I mean, that's like just
right.
The fact, right?
Yeah. Some kids are just, I mean, there's always little weirdos.
Yeah. I mean,
in a loving way.
Yeah. I mean, it's what it is. I mean, I mean, I get it, and I would say the same thing, at like 14 and 15. I'm like, hey, I didn't want to hang out with my parents either. But
right. That's normal development.
It is, right.
You're like running away or like just, I guess what they would say, like they'll say aligning with the parent. And it's not that it's so much as an alignment as it is the need to stay attached.
Yeah.
And I found myself doing this all the time. And I'm even talking in my adult years.
Yeah.
And here I am like, I did not lose my sense of self, but I did override my discomfort for the need to be a part of the pack. Like my stepmom didn't like me, but I still wanted to belong. Yeah. Because if I belonged, even though I would belong for a little bit, she would just like, just some parents are just mean.
Yeah.
Right. They're just mean. So sometimes because it is an attachment. So it was always my need to attach, but once I became a teenager, my need to attach to my mom, it was disappointment. It was anger. It was, I think I was, 13 years old, and I had to move back with my mom, who I hadn't lived with in like 5 years.
Oh, wow.
I didn't hardly see. I didn't want to see. And I guess I was behaving like an alienated kid, young teen. And I'm sitting at the kitchen table, and it's my dad, my stepmom, my mom, and my stepdad. And on the outside, I'm just defiant, just pissed.
Yeah.
And on the inside, I'm like, why the F aren't my parents why are they giving my stepmom so much access? Why don't they fucking parent me?
Yeah.
That's what I was feeling on the inside.
Okay.
On the outside. So it's like, but I never shared that. I just kept that on the inside.
Yeah.
And so when I had a child and I raised him, I was like Fort Knox, man. I was like, I got it. Yep. He's my kid. I will raise him.
Right.
like, because it just, you don't want you want to protect your kids from how the world hurt you. And sometimes your kids, they, and this is an uncomfortable truth, but sometimes we show our parent our bad side. They never get our good side.
Yeah.
It's just, and even though you don't want to, like, you may intentionally really want to, like, okay, I'm really going to try, but then something just triggers us, like the word divorce or anything. And especially when you're younger, you don't have control over those. And next thing you know, it's like you're PMS all the time.
Okay. Oh, that makes sense. It does.
And it's and you don't know it. And that's what's hard is it's like you feel it in your body, but you respond so quickly, you don't even have time to think.
Right.
And it's just the reactions because something happened.
Yeah.
And whether it was the divorce, whatever went on, mom acting all like a teenager, eventually when kids start to experience other life, other families, other friends, that's what helped me is I accidentally, luckily got away, but I also had grandparents, family. Right. So I was always, without even realizing it, I was always, I knew I did not like the way that, because kids are always watching.
Yeah.
Always watching.
Right.
And I saw my dad do stupid things and I saw my mom do dumb things, but I still love them.
Right.
I still love them.
Oh, yeah.
They're human. And it just took a long time for my mom to understand. And the only reason why she was able to understand what I experienced, that's why she goes, oh my God, I marvel at you. And I'm like, what? Because I found the script that was used, like my stepmom's manifesto.
Okay.
And it's like, it's in my book, and it's the evidence that shows just how sick a human's mind can be.
Yeah.
So all the lies, like, Lisa, you were a bad child. You were trying to hurt your mom when she was pregnant. Huh?
Wow.
Like they just change your history.
Yes.
But I knew that was a lie, but it was still like seeing that, reading that was like so horrible for a little kid. Like, and you don't share it because you're reading someone else's stuff and you think you're going to get in trouble. There's just on the daily. So when my mom, we were in another argument, like, how many triggers do you have? And then I had found that the manifesto, and my husband at the time uploaded it to her email, and there was 58 pages.
Wow. And
I said, read this. And then she called me back an hour later, and that's when she goes, oh my God. And that's when the repair started, because we finally understood
what was going on.
And you read that again as I think I was 45 at the time.
Yeah.
My son was 25 out of college, and I'm like, oh shit, this ain't good.
Wow.
But it was also freeing because parents, they're going to figure out all the lies. I'm like, actually, you figure out the truth. You were loved.
Right.
You were loved and wanted.
Yeah. And that's, I guess, see, that brings me to a really big question that a lot of parents ask me the same thing. And I used to ask myself, how the hell do alienated kids completely wipe out the past? It's like the past gets rewritten. I could stand there. I mean, I know you're laughing because you know the answer, but I could sit there showing video like, hey, remember when we did this? No. And like pictures, Facebook posts with timestamps. Hey, remember we went to, I don't remember that. Why does that happen? Because
number one, their nervous system is already triggered.
Okay.
So they're already like, I'm in protective mode. Nope, I don't want to do that. Nope, that is uncomfortable. That hurts. It is so quick.
Yeah.
So one, it could be that. It usually is always part of that.
Yep.
And the other thing is sometimes how we, like my dad would tell me, but you were laughing. I took you to Disneyland and you were laughing. Dad, I was adapting. I wasn't enjoying myself. I was so frustrated. I couldn't be my whole self around your wife. So like we don't have the words when we're little. So the kids may not have the words yet because they're still, it's like the body logs and records and the mind makes sense of it.
Yes.
Maybe they're not ready to make sense of it yet.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't. I'd rather get married and have a kid.
Right.
That should tell you. Like,
yeah.
that, right? Like, wait, your answer was to get married and have a kid? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And it's just, that is great as I loved being my son's mom. That was the hardest job, the best time of my life. Nothing will compare.
Right. And
I am so grateful. And people will come, I can't believe how good your son is. Like, me either. Like, holy shit. He'll even say, I can't believe. Like, he doesn't have kids yet. He's like, that freaks me out. I can't believe my parents were 19. Like he says, born at an exceptionally young age. So he's been rebelling ever since.
Right.
He's more, but even though I was able to give him what I couldn't, I think it was like, I know it was because it was out of love, but out of reaction to like someone. And this is what maybe a lot of the kids go through when you're alienated, when you have a parent that is so all consuming and you don't know it because you're growing up, you're developing. You don't know what that's going to cost you.
Okay.
So when you're growing up that way, that's just developing. That's just growing up inside of all of that chaos and conflict.
Yeah. And
then when you're an adult, when you have life experience, you can reflect back and go, holy hell. Yeah. So you don't think about it when you're going through it. You just go through it.
Right.
And so when parents or professionals try to explain what it's like for the kids and they use absolutes, it's horrible because now the kids are listening to someone else explain to them what their life is going to be like and what it should be like.
Right.
And so it's no different than being around a parent that's emotional, that's telling you, oh, you're going to be this way because your dad or your mom is doing this. So there is no escape from this emotional environment. And that is why it is so hard to speak to parents in a way that I can translate. Like, just because your kids are acting this way, it may be because what if they're hurt? What if they're yearning for you, but they don't know how to express it because this started when they were 5.
Right.
You can feel I would feel lonely in front of my parents and I couldn't tell them. I would feel anxiety. I would feel fear. I was desperately, I didn't know it. I had a really not dysfunctional, but the worry I had for my dad was disproportionate.
Yeah. I
should have been able to, you're going to your mom's, you're safe there. I'll talk to you later. I don't need to call you 3 times a day.
Right.
I don't need to bring you McDonald's, Jack in the Box.
Right.
Right. Because my mom was making, and you have 2 extremes. Usually you have one parent that does everything one way and the other parent that's saying, nope, this is how we do it at this house.
Yes.
So the kids are like, yeah, you're, and they're developing at the same time. Right. So you're talking 7, 8, 9, 10, when they're little, just different ages. Yeah. So there is no let up. And then you get a parent that wants to piss the other parent off. And then you go into family court. That's why I know, you can't trust these therapists that want to ask the kids questions, that want to sit there and observe. Do you know how uncomfortable? That's unnatural. That is putting more emotional pressure on those poor kids, and they don't know it.
Yep.
There's nothing a stranger can tell me that my own parents can. But then if you have a parent that is all emotional and in their stuck in their teenage self, and you got a teenager,
yeah.
So it's a waiting game, and it's also a patience.
Yeah.
And it's understanding, like, from a different perspective, from like, okay, this is just the mind and body and what the brain does and what the mind does, and the environment and all that stuff is part of how they're growing up. And so basically make sure to not put your kid in a place where they feel they have to act a certain way to receive your love.
Right.
Like, now I have to go heal all the shit that my mom did so that my dad can love me.
Right. Right.
Do you see that? Like, just like the enormity that is put on the kids, and it continues. So it's so hard.
Yeah.
Because parents are just like, no one is going to love you like your parents.
Right.
Even the ones that are bad parents.
Right. And one of the things, like, I used to say in court over and over again. I never walked, and I'm the one that took her mother to court because she took my child, right? I mean, you took her away and say, hey, you can't see her anymore.
You're trying to, I get it.
And all I'm asking for is time with my own kid. And I never, ever said that child needs to be away from that woman. Never, ever. The only time I even hinted at anything like that was when my daughter almost died from an eating disorder under her mother's watch.
Yep.
And then it's like, hey, this is something's going on here. Right.
Yep, self-harm.
So now we got, a bigger fish to fry. And, but of course, the court, what do? They handed her right back to her mother. Doesn't matter, but because I'm, labeled the bad guy right away. So, but during the whole thing, I was always for the kid needs both parents. That's how they grow up well adjusted, because
sometimes, to be honest, reflecting back, 50-50 is ideal. It's good to have two parents, but sometimes it depends on the kid. If the kid can handle, if the kid is mature enough to have to, like, yeah, Mom, I don't want to hear your shit.
Right. Right.
Right. And at what age do you, because they're still, whether they're adapting or it is a cluster F.
I know. And when you're in a good situation, you wouldn't have the other parent being, high conflict. But when there is a high conflict parent,
and there usually is.
There usually is.
So what? Right. So how do you? That's why it's like, 50-50 is a good starting point. And it depends on the kid's age.
Right.
And then it's like, well, then they say that kids without dads have all this. And I'm like, okay. And kids without it, it's like, why is it always about the moms and dads?
Yeah.
That is your, like, okay, we all sacrifice differently, but
sure.
I do, like, if it's like eating disorder, if there are things that are just, and being emotionally, or dysregulated all the time and being all up in your drama and putting your shit on your kids, that to me is, especially when you've got like a kid like 7 to like 13.
Right.
That, I'm sorry, but that's when it's like, no, this kid just needs 80-20.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but I will die on a hill for that, because the pressure and the way that that parents puts their emotional shit onto a kid, the kid they're still growing up.
Yeah.
They need, at that point, they need one good, safe parent that's going to put them first.
Right.
And so,
well, both parents should put them first.
A popular thing to say,
I understand. Yeah,
it depends on the child, the circumstances,
the parents,
the age,
the age,
because
right.
That is a developing kid. That is like a brand new system.
Yeah,
and you want to, you can course correct. That's the good news, but that's what is really frustrating. Is And that's why I don't like a lot of the like Childress. I'm sorry, I don't like him.
Yeah.
You don't have to cut that out.
Yeah.
It's about his framework. It's very adversarial. I don't want anybody picking my parents apart. I don't want somebody giving my parents a personality test. F you, dude.
Right.
Go away. You're part of the problem.
Right.
I mean, when you really, because I get why parents like that. I get it. But how is that helping your kid?
Right.
If it takes forever in court, and here's the other thing, parents, how many of you are going to listen to the same people? They just keep adjusting their framework.
Yeah.
And I see that, and it's like, oh my God, help. And not every parent, like there are some situations where, yeah, he's right. And maybe he's right. But when you look at it from adulting, from like our age group and what we've known,
Sure.
And you're talking about, that is absolutely, you might as well just drop your kid off at a freaking bus station
Right.
or let them be in foster care, because that is the kind of a parenting that it's that emotional pressure.
Yeah.
Like if parents are going around on TikTok and explaining their story, while I understand that to the kid, that can look at like, my parent's weak. My parent is all about themselves. They're saying all this stuff, that the child could be feeling that.
Okay.
And not expressing that, because it's like, there's mom or dad again talking about me and my life. It's so sad, because everyone just thinks the kids are just brainwashed. Honestly, I was manipulated, and it was my parents' reaction to the situation that made it stick.
Okay.
My parents' parenting, right? So my mom didn't know, she was tough, old school.
Right.
So the tougher she got, the more I was like, you're mean.
Okay.
So, yeah, you just, you don't know. So it's just and then at the end of the day, you realize, oh man, my parent really did love me.
Yeah. Well, that's a good little segue into that question that I have. At the end of the day, as a kid who's going through all of this, you still love both parents.
Yep.
Yeah. Right.
Yep.
And I think
100%.
And I think people need to know that
sometimes, but
right.
You love them.
Well, I mean, and that's just life. That's your parents. I mean, people. I get it. I grew up with an immigrant family. Straight off the boat, Italian, right? I didn't like everything that they did.
And I was alienated.
Right. Yeah.
They do the best that they can with what they know, and it's hard because they say like, oh, alien kids don't have empathy. They're narcissistic. It's like, what was it like for them? Right. What was it like for them, mom or dad? What did they experience? Some of them are just too young. They don't, their kids are still, they're babies still.
Yeah.
But for the ones that haven't talked to their kids, it's blame to the kids. Blame when a kid hears someone say blame, like, oh, your father, oh, your mother.
Right.
It's almost like, oh, there they go again.
Yeah.
They're in their story.
Yeah.
And it's so sad. And, you already miss out with the parent when there's divorce. And then when there's all this conflict, you don't enjoy both. Your kids aren't sitting there enjoying with the other parent. I sure as hell didn't. I faked it on the outside, but on the inside, I was not, I didn't. Otherwise, I would have been able to tell my parents, that lady's mean to me. I don't like her. Right. Why are you making me go there? Well, I was too young.
Yeah.
And then by 13, all they're doing is looking at the behavior. Well, how do we correct that behavior? Correct the parents' parenting.
Right.
Because when you look at adaptation and you look at how children are adapting, and you go back to history, like you go back to the child's history, like,
Sure.
okay, what did they really witness? What was it like for them in that environment? Who was around? What was happening? It takes the focus off the kid and puts it back on the parents.
Right.
Why don't they do that in the courts? Why aren't these guardian ad litems doing that?
Yeah.
So
Well, because then they can't drag it out and make more money. I mean, I hate to say that, but
right,
that's kind of what it is.
But it needs to shift because this is not okay.
No, it does. There's so many kids getting hurt.
It's not in the best interest of the kid. It is not. Once you add that, and that is biology. That is biology trumping Childress, trumping these experts like him, because there's some really good ones. There's some really good ones, and I like the ones that are more that don't put the labels on, that are open-minded, that don't talk in absolutes.
Right.
Because a kid could identify with Childress, I guess, like that Maddie chick was saying.
Yeah. Great.
But don't talk in absolutes, because I don't relate. And I know there's other kids out because I talk to them.
Right.
Even the adult kids, they're like, no, they don't identify with alienation. I'm like, good.
Yeah.
They have some self-awareness. Good.
Right. Yeah.
It's all about the egos, and I'm going to figure this out. And I'm like, oh, biology already has, but we're not talking about that, huh? 2026, really?
Yeah.
We're going to talk about what? Like, you're going to give our parents personality tests, but you're forgetting our biology?
Yeah.
Like, and that is, I don't know if they're forgetting, but they just, because when you include let's look at the adaptations. Let's look at the kids' emotional environment they're growing up in, because that is part of the human biology.
Right.
That is part of the human process. That completely changes all of their framework.
Yeah. Well, that's, it's a big problem right now. Family court is doing more damage than anything. I mean, it's obvious, right? It's happening. A lot of good parents are losing their kids for absolutely no reason. There's never any evidence of.
And it's everywhere. And it's not
everywhere.
just in one state.
I know.
It's everywhere. And nobody's saying anything about it. And you see sort of everybody trying to shift to like different, like, maybe I think they're trying to study what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But it's like, why are you keeping it on the down low? Why do the professionals have to study it before the parents get information?
Right.
Why?
Yeah. I
mean, that's what I'm trying to do, is like, parents over here, come here. I got something to tell you.
Right. Yeah.
It's actually good news. And I get it. I get the behavior. I get it. But I'm telling you, if I would have had words, if I would have known 40 years.
Oh, that's a long time.
I know. And I'm still in it. I'm just in it in a different way.
Right. And I think
it's
that's
still triggering.
And I think that's what hurts the most, as a targeted parent. It's like, that's what keeps me up at night. It's like knowing that my daughter's going through this. And knowing that it's like, you can't protect her.
She's not sitting there actively. That's why I have to keep going, because all this fear and labels and pointing and blaming, it just keeps the kids, nothing's changing.
Right.
I go through, I see it. You should see me trying to scroll on TikTok. It's like, you look at my body, I'm like, I get like these, oh no, they did not say that. Oh my God, oh my gosh. It's terrible. And it doesn't help. It's like,
no. So what's your advice? To parents out there that are, let's do two things. Let's do the first one is, if a parent right now is starting to notice, like they're right in the thick of it, it's starting to happen, what's your advice to a target parent? Like, what should they, besides go and look you up? Right?
It's really important to know first that you didn't do anything wrong. You are trying to help your kid. So first, don't try to overthink like what your kid is doing, because it's like you feel like you're being diagnosed.
Yes. Yes.
Right. So the first thing is to know that do not believe the labels. Do not let anyone label your kid. Don't believe the labels until you understand your child's experience.
Yeah.
So what you can do is, and this may be challenging, but this may help. You're going to have to parent differently. You're going to have to love your child. You're also going to have to be an example of how to hold trauma, how to hold grace, how to put love over labels. You're going to have to show your best side while you're going through your worst. And you do that because you put your child first. Don't fight the courts. Don't go into years of arbitration. That will keep your kid, unless you're talking like serious child abuse or something that's really, really, because unless you really know, because what can happen is you're going to keep your child in an emotional atmosphere. So it's a really important hill that you're going to embark on. Your kid needs to see an example of a adult, of a parent that can be steady in a bunch of earthquakes and tsunamis, because that's what parents do. They're the example.
Yeah.
Or you're the parent that's an emotional wreck and you're putting your kid through all kinds of emotional BS, and your kid will start adapting and then they'll start surviving. So it's really a lot about self-awareness and what type of parent you want to be. And look, it could take years before you're like, my mom waited like 40 years for me to say, oh my God, you're such a good mom.
Yeah.
But man, is it worth it? Yes. Did it take a long time? Yes. But you have to understand, you're not just parenting for 18 years.
Right.
You're not just parenting for 18 years. And your child will always have a need, will always think of you, even though they're spewing things out. Those are their behaviors because something happened. So it's good to just stay open-minded, stay away from the labels and the fear. If you read something and it feels validating because it reminds you of your ex, good. Let it be about your ex. Don't bring your kid into it.
Right.
Because that's the hook. You're hurting my kid. Well, of course you're going to react. Of course you're going to be, but that's not what your kid needs. Your kid needs a stable environment, not an emotional one. You're not going to change that other parent. You're not going to take them to court and all you're doing is for the kids. That's not what they want.
Right.
So and try to understand it from a different lens. Get uncomfortable with hearing different perspectives. There's a lot of bad information out there that doesn't help parents.
Yeah.
It keeps them in a holding pattern. It keeps them in a I hate my ex. It keeps you in your story.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing to do is, and I love my dad. I wouldn't change my dad. I would change the living situation, and he doesn't blame me for that. But I think the saddest thing, and I don't think of my dad this way so much, but the saddest thing is when your kid becomes an adult and they look back and they see their parents still stuck in the same story.
Yeah.
That is where there's no connection. There's almost like, bye, mom, bye, dad. You don't want that. You don't want your kid worrying or feeling sorry for you or wondering, when I'm going to wake up one day, Mom, and then I'm going to be mad at my dad. You don't want that for your kid.
Right.
If you want that for your kid, I want to know what kind of parent, what's your parenting plan?
Right.
This is about long term. You're investing time and energy into a human being so that they can live in a world and navigate it and thrive. But when you make it about your pain, that's in my opinion, that's just not growth. It's sad.
Yeah. No, that's amazing.
And so, so the kid ends up looking back.
Yeah.
You want your kid to look back. What do you want them to see? Mom and dad were in pain. They're still in pain. They don't get a break. So then your grandma's still talking about grandpa. It doesn't end.
Right.
That's the hard advice that probably parents don't hear.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, it's hard because you're going through all of this endless court battles, endless, motions and back and forth. You're bleeding money, right? And it's just, one thing after another. And then, you have a child that doesn't say, I love you, doesn't want to see you, it's so hard, right?
Yeah.
To do exactly what you said. But I tell people this all the time. I'm like, you have to, at some point,
let go.
You have to let go. And you have to,
go.
Yeah, you have to work on yourself so that when they do come back, because they will, you have to be the best you. Why do they want to come back to a broken person?
Right. And even if you're not even if you're not feeling your best you,
right.
It's not like, right. It's just, they don't want perfect. We don't want perfect parents. We want parents that can understand the terrain and also show us to kind of be an example.
Right.
To be a beacon, to be happy for us, to make it about us.
Yeah.
Not your, and I don't mean, I think parents are just trying to do the best they can.
Yeah.
And your kids are just, they're trying to live. They have the right to enjoy their life.
Right.
I still laughed. I still, I was always wearing earphones, and I mean, half the stuff I just tuned it out. I just listened to Prince and Michael Jackson, and we're not, most of us. I mean, are some kids? Sure, but most of us, we're adapting so fast, but adapting isn't it's a natural process.
Right.
But it comes at a cost. It can be both kryptonite and also, powerful, but you still suffer. Some of your kids may be surviving differently. And that's why you want to be, you don't want to be stuck in your story.
Yeah.
That's probably the most,
I know that's hard, but that's what people need to do. Move on from
because
it.
Because guess what? Your kid's going to go through shit. Your kid's going to have things that they have to move through. But if they see mom or dad stuck in their story, that's either going to motivate them to not want to be like you or feel sorry for you.
Right.
So it's hard to say that stuff. I would never,
yeah.
And especially because I'm like, I do have empathy. I'm just trying to tell you what helped me.
Right. Well, that's the thing. I mean, and the whole point of this and, anybody's story is we want the truth to be told, right? As hard as it is, right? Because at the end of the day, you're right. It's not about the parents. It's about the kids. And I think that's what breaks my heart the most is it's about the kids, and I don't understand why people don't see that. Yeah,
because it matches their narrative on the inside. Because some of them are actually alienators. Some of them are actually not most of them. I see a lot of unhealthy parents.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah,
and I'm not judging them. it's just because there's information that the other part, the you know, the biology, the human part, parents don't hear this from the courts or the experts. Not yet.
Yeah. Well,
and they shouldn't have to wait.
They shouldn't have to wait. That's the thing. So
that's what I'm doing over here.
Yeah. Well,
so
this is awesome. I don't want to keep you any longer. I mean, we've had a phenomenal. We could go down. We could go down another 2-hour, conversation. But I want everyone to know that to find you, you can go to stephoodproject.org. Right?
Yes.
Explain quickly a little bit about what you do there.
Okay, so I have courses to this amazing new breakthrough that I did. Because of social media, it motivated me to, I have the very first AI, Lisa, that parents can use for free. It is the absolute accurate information that you're going to get. You don't have to scroll through social media to find out. You want a quick 24/7 answer. You have a question about what's going on with your kid. Just go to the Stephood Project, hit AI Lisa, ask her. She talks, and you can also chat with her. And this has been a big project. It's been ready for like 6 months, but I have just been very careful because I wanted to make sure that all the guardrails are ready. And,
yes.
Even kids that are 18 and over can call. I called it and said, "Hey, am I going to be messed up forever? Am I going to be damaged forever?" No, you're not. Because it's all about how we talk to the kids. And, I know that I went towards my mom when I felt safe, when I knew she understood me. When she understood me, I knew she got me.
Yeah.
And the labels and the judgment and the diagnosis, well, okay, sure. But what about this as well? Why hasn't this ever been included?
Right.
And the parents have the right to know. Because they're still studying it. Well, I found out a long time ago, but because it wasn't in the college curriculum,
right.
There's all kinds of shifting happening. So anyways, that's what I'm doing at the Stephood Project. I have courses you can email me at alienated by Lisa if you have any questions, if you want to find out, if you have any questions, if you want to find out what I do. And, I'm really, really good at helping parents connect and helping kids understand their parents. It's like this little niche, because there's nothing worse than walking around in your own body, not feeling safe or connected to parents, and trying to figure out and navigate life.
That's true. Yeah.
And all it is just communication and understanding.
Yeah. Isn't that a great concept? Communication, right? Awesome. All right, Lisa, listen, I so appreciate you taking your time and telling your story and helping. Like I said, it's everyone's story is different, but the pain is the same for every parent out there. We're all suffering together.
Yes, we all suffer. We all cry the same. We all laugh the same.
Yeah. It's just trying to get through all the noise, all the social media noise, and trying to find the right answers. And one of the things I try to do, on my show is like just try to point people hopefully in the right direction, to just try to get out of, the noise, because there is so much going on out there on social media that can keep you, as you said, that'll keep you in your story, keep you dragged in. And I find myself sometimes, like I'll watch some of this stuff, I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, that's stupid. Why you can't keep,
I know.
It's
so bad. It's so
bad.
hard to be human.
But, we have to find, a light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, the kids, I think one of the things that really touched me today that you said is no matter what is going on, your kids still love you. I mean, you're still, you're still a mom, you're still a dad, they can't take that away from you. And that's been imprinted on these kids. They love you. They don't, what they're doing. Like you said, it's just a trauma response. It's, their
body and mind are working efficiently. Unfortunately, we've been taught differently.
Right.
Yeah, so there's a way through this, and just keep spreading the information that your parents haven't been told the whole story.
Right. Amazing.
So, yeah.
All right, Lisa, you hang on a second. Everybody else, we'll be right back. All right, guys, so there you have it. That was my sit-down interview with Lisa. What an amazing woman, amazing mom. I mean, she's been through a lot. So pick up her book, go check it out, Alienated, and go to her website if you need help. Again, it's the Stephood Project. So you'll go to the stephoodproject.org and look around her site. She just released the AI Lisa chat, which I did check out a little bit. It's pretty cool. So you're not alone, right? I mean, this is a really heavy subject matter. I know there's a lot of noise out there in the family court space, with fathers and mothers, and there's so many people out there trying to, all the end goal is to help the kids, right? And I'm all for that. But I know there's a lot of noise, right? And there's a lot of, support groups, and there's a lot of different, things coming at you, and, what we can do here, what we can do there. And, then there are some bad actors trying to take your money, but be careful. Ask the right questions. Remember, at the end of the day, it's about your kids, not about you, right? Not about the other person. As much as you cannot stand what the other person is doing, you got to stay focused on your children, because they matter the most, right? And I know that's hard, right? But you got to find the help, and you got to find, and sometimes we slip and fall, man. We're not perfect. Parenthood does not come with a manual. I wish it did, right? That would make life a lot easier for all of us. But really take a look at her site, look and see what she's got to offer. Find out what could benefit you to help your child. At the end of the day, again, that's all that matters. Reach out to us here at the Beard Speaks Podcast. We can point you in the right direction. Also, there's help out there. There's organizations that can help you. There's people you can talk to get the right information. There's a lot of nonsense out there with psychiatrists and therapists that are just not even trained on parental alienation. They're not trained to deal with narcissistic behaviors. They're not trained to actually understand what is happening, with these kids when they're the court awards them to the alienating parent, right? They don't do, honestly, some of them, I think they get it, but they just don't want to get involved. They don't have the cojones to stand up and say, okay, hey, this is wrong and we need to fix this. I don't know what the case, I don't know why. Why anybody would allow children to go through something like this, because it's just traumatic, and it's just, I'm at a loss for words, man, because I've gone through it and I've seen the nonsense, and I know you guys feel the frustration because you've gone through it also. So please check that out. And remember, check us out at www.thebeardspeakspodcast.com. You can send us an email again at thebeardspeakspodcast@gmail.com. Keep sharing our show. Keep showing up. God bless you guys, and we'll see you on the next one.